Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rakesh Mishra. Quixi is a joint work with Aditya Gudipati and Sachin Katti. This work and most of my recent work is motivated by the fact that the global demand for mobile data is skyrocketing. Ever since LTE was introduced in around 2009, 2010, the demand for mobile data has increased nearly 10 times in 5 years. And the industry forecast is that this demand will continue to increase. Another 10 times in the next 5 years and possibly 100 times in the next 10 years. How will mobile networks meet this skyrocketing demand? There are 3 broad dimensions along which mobile networks can scale their capacity supply. They can add more spectrum to serve more capacity. They can improve their spectral efficiency to serve more capacity per unit spectrum. But both these dimensions are now hitting their limits. They are not expected to give the 10x or 100x capacity scaling that we need in the next 5 to 10 years. The third dimension is densification, reusing the spectrum more aggressively over space. And mobile networks have made advances along this dimension in the past. Cell splitting, cell sectorization, moving to frequency reuse of one were all forms of densification. The next form of densification is going to be deploying more and more of what are called small cells in an ad hoc manner depending on where capacity is required. More small cells mean more capacity. And this form of densification is expected to bring the next wave of capacity scaling in mobile access networks. But scaling capacity by densification with small cells is challenging. The increase in density and heterogeneity introduces new challenges across the entire stack, starting from the link layer all the way up to the application layer. And that is where my recent research is focused on. This particular talk is focused on the link layer challenge of interference. And the challenge we are addressing here is very intuitive to understand. As we deploy more and more of these small cells in a dense manner within a given area, there is more interference between the cells, every pair of neighboring cells. And this interference prevents the overall capacity from scaling linearly with the addition of every new cell. Ideally, we would want the capacity to scale linearly. That's the holy grail of densification. And the challenge is not that we do not know how to overcome this interference. This problem has been studied in great detail, and in fact, several mechanisms have been standardized in LTE, like COMP joint transmission, that can help us exploit this interference and scale the capacity linearly. The challenge is that all these mechanisms require very low latency coordination, less than a millisecond coordination between neighboring cells. Every pair of neighboring cells need to coordinate the channel and interference measurements from their clients very quickly with their neighbors. And I'll show later that the capacity actually does not scale linearly if the latency is much higher than a millisecond. So that's what we need. And this intercell coordination is implemented over the backhaul connections. Macro cells typically are equipped with well-engineered backhaul, dedicated point-to-point fiber or microwave links. So they can typically achieve such low latencies of coordinations with other neighboring macro cells. But backhaul for small cells is a challenge. Laying down dedicated fiber or microwave links to every small cell location in urban areas is too expensive. The economics of small cells forces operators to use whatever cheap third-party internet connection is available in urban areas to backhaul their small cells. And the typical internet connections in urban areas have much higher latencies, easily more than 10 milliseconds. So that's the state of the world. The technology, the solutions that can give us sub-millisecond coordination latencies between neighboring cells are too expensive to deploy with small cells. And the technologies that are not too expensive to deploy with small cells do not give us the sub-millisecond latencies that we need. And that is where Quixi comes in. Quixi is an inexpensive sub-millisecond backhaul solution for small cells. Before I explain how Quixi works, let me mention the requirements on the small cell backhaul that must be met in order to realize this vision of linear capacity scaling. The small cell backhaul needs to carry 2 kinds of traffic. The user traffic needs high bandwidth on the order of 50 to 100 Mbps, but it's typically not sensitive to latencies on the order of tens of milliseconds. The coordination traffic, on the other hand, has very modest bandwidth requirements, 1 to 5 Mbps, but requires very low latencies, sub-millisecond latencies. Our first insight or approach is to physically decouple the user traffic backhaul from the coordination traffic backhaul. Because they have different requirements. Instead of trying to find a single backhaul solution that can give us both the high bandwidth that is needed by user traffic and the sub-millisecond latencies that is needed by coordination traffic, let's just use different physical links to carry them. And that way we can still continue to use the internet backhauls to backhaul user traffic because they meet the requirements. But now how do we design a coordination backhaul that can give us sub-millisecond latencies? A second insight is that operators typically own a sub-gigahertz carrier, for example, in band 700, that they deploy exclusively at the macro cells for providing wide area coverage. And the small cells are deployed within the coverage area of these macro cells. So why not use this sub-gigahertz license spectrum to implement a coordination backhaul for small cells? And that is what QuickSea is. It's a promising idea, but there are several challenges. One, does this require making invasive changes to the existing baseband and radio units of the macro cells? If it does, then probably it's not a very practical solution. What is the spectrum cost of QuickSea? Because license spectrum is expensive, and QuickSea is stealing our precious spectrum resources from the macro cell. Third, the round-trip latency of LTE, for example, is more than 10 milliseconds. So it's not clear if QuickSea can provide sub-millisecond latencies just because it's an over-the-air single hop link. In the next few slides, I'll describe how QuickSea is designed to overcome each of these challenges. Let me start by explaining how QuickSea does not require any invasive changes to the existing baseband and radio units at the macro cells and small cells. QuickSea is designed to be an add-on solution, meaning deploying QuickSea only requires plugging in additional boxes across open interfaces without changing any of the existing boxes. QuickSea has two components. The first is a QuickSea client at the small cell, which has a baseband unit and a radio unit. And this needs to be inserted by the operator in series with the IP backhaul of the small cells. The second component is a QuickSea agent at the macro cell, which is only a baseband unit. And this needs to be inserted by the operator across the open interface that connects the baseband unit of the macro cell with its radio unit. And both these components have been designed in a way that they are completely transparent to the baseband and radio units at both macro cells and small cells. Let me now explain how QuickSea handles the degradation to the LTE users. QuickSea is designed to have a negligible impact on the LTE users who are sharing the same spectrum as itself, the band 700 users. And this design uses two key ideas. The first idea is to make the QuickSea link stronger than a typical LTE link by design. And we do so by employing a high-gain directional antenna on the QuickSea client of the small cells. And we can afford to do it because the QuickSea client is static, unlike mobile users which must have omni antennas. The second idea is instead of scheduling the QuickSea traffic orthogonal to the LTE traffic, exploit the stronger QuickSea links to transmit the QuickSea traffic concurrently with the LTE traffic. Right? So we devise a communication technique that we call underlay communication that makes this possible. Underlay communication has two main functional blocks. The first function is a power control function that is implemented by this QuickSea agent at the macro cell, which ensures that the QuickSea power level is kept significantly below the LTE power level in a way that the QuickSea signal is received way below the noise floor at the LTE users. Right? And that is how QuickSea is designed to cause negligible degradation to the LTE users. But how is the QuickSea signal recovered at the QuickSea client? The QuickSea client, due to its stronger links, receives both these signals above its noise floor, and it uses successive interference cancellation. It first cancels out the LTE signal and then retrieves the QuickSea signal. But this is a challenge. The LTE code words span 1 millisecond, which is the minimum unit of transmission in LTE, which means the QuickSea client cannot cancel the LTE signal faster than a millisecond, which means it cannot achieve sub-millisecond latencies. To get over this problem, we devise a variant of successive interference cancellation that we call symbol-level successive interference cancellation. And the idea is that instead of decoding the LTE signal to bits and then canceling it, just make a hard decision on the symbol that was transmitted in the LTE signal and cancel it on a symbol-by-symbol basis. I'll encourage you to take a look at the paper for more details on how this actually works, and more importantly, why it works. Right? And so this was on the downlink. The concept of underlay communication on the uplink is very similar. In fact, it's more straightforward, and I'll encourage you to take a look at the paper. And this is how QuickC is designed to cause negligible degradation to the LTE users who are on the same spectrum. Right? Now let's take a look at how we designed an air interface for QuickC that could achieve sub-millisecond round-trip latencies. The key enabler is ultra-short frames for QuickC, frames less than 100 microseconds in duration. Just to give some perspective, this is how the LTE air interface looks like. The minimum unit of transmission in LTE is called a subframe, which lasts 1 millisecond and contains 14 OFDM symbol. And if you add in the processing budgets for the transmit chain and receive chain, the one-way latency in LTE turns out to be at least 5 milliseconds on both uplink and downlink. The round-trip latency is more than 10 milliseconds. In contrast, if I were to show on the same scale, we have designed the air interface for QuickC such that it can coexist with LTE, but its minimum unit of transmission is 1 OFDM symbol. And if I were to zoom into this a little bit, we have designed the transmit chain processing and the receive chain processing in a way that the one-way latency of QuickC on both uplink and downlink is less than 300 microseconds. So the round trip is less than 600 microseconds. The obvious question is, can we actually meet these very stringent processing budgets? This transmit chain processing needs to finish within 71 microseconds, and the receive chain processing needs to finish within 140 microseconds. We prototyped QuickC on a commodity DSP platform from Texas Instruments. And this is a summary of the latency performance that we were able to hit. We were able to hit an end-to-end latency of 585 microseconds round trip over the QuickC links, which included 280 microsecond on the uplink and 305 microseconds on the downlink. And the important part was these latencies were very predictable. The maximum variation that we found across several runs of the experiment was 2 microseconds. So QuickC is designed to provide round-trip latencies of less than 600 microseconds very consistently on commodity DSPs. I'll conclude by highlighting the costs and benefits of deploying QuickC in LTE networks from a spectrum point of view. What is the spectrum cost of deploying QuickC in LTE networks? We simulated the performance of LTE networks without and with QuickC. And we found out that QuickC can meet the bandwidth requirements for coordination backhaul while causing minimal impact to the LTE users. The median degradation in the throughput of LTE users was 1% on the downlink and 4% on the uplink, very minimal. And what do we get in return for this minimal degradation? This plot is showing how the overall network capacity scales as a function of density, as a function of the number of small cells deployed in every macro sector. Okay? The blue bars show the capacity scaling when neighboring cells do not perform any coordination. They just, each cell operates on its own. The blue and white bars show the capacity scaling when neighboring cells coordinate to implement COMP joint transmission, but the coordination happens over their internet backhaul, which has more than 10 milliseconds of latency, but which is a state of the art today. And you can see in both these cases, the capacity scaling is less than linear. The green curve, the green bars show what happens when COMP joint transmission is implemented over the QuickC link, which has sub-millisecond latencies. And you can see that the capacity scaling is linear, and for any density, the capacity is more than doubled. So that is what QuickC gets us, an increase of 100% or more in overall capacity for any density. What does this mean? For operators and vendors, QuickC is a technology that can let them extend the capacity of their mobile networks aggressively without requiring any new spectrum or without requiring any invasive changes to their existing infrastructure or the existing mobile standards, which means this is something that they can implement and deploy right away. For communications researchers, and this is what I would like to ask you, what new algorithms and applications can we design that could benefit from a link like QuickC? Can we improve the capacity further, maybe by doing some better form of joint scheduling or joint transmission? Can we use a link like QuickC for applications beyond low latency coordination? For example, can we use QuickSea to deliver timing and synchronization to small cells in urban areas? Which is a problem because in urban areas, GPS doesn't work well when there are high rises around. But QuickSea works in non-line of sight environments. Can we do something more with a link like QuickSea? So I'll leave a summary of QuickSea on the screen, and that's all I have to present. Thank you.
Any questions? So I have a question. So there has been a lot of work in the information theory world. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
In the information theory world about comp and so on. And what you present in some sense is an enabler to all those. But how do your capacity results compare to the theoretical bounds and so on?
So I see this as a good use case for the techniques of concurrent transmission and SIC, which people have studied in great detail in theory, right? There's another technology which is being proposed in the context of 5G, which is called NOMA, non-orthogonal multiple access, which is trying to do something very similar, but the two users to which concurrent transmissions happens are two normal LT users, right? And applying SIC and concurrent transmissions to that scenario is actually very challenging. Because one, for SIC to work well, you need a big disparity in the two link strengths, which is difficult to ensure like for LT users. And two, you also need advanced processing on user handsets, which is again not very ideal because user handsets have constraints on battery and so on. This QuickSea is a very good use case for applying the principles of concurrent transmissions and SIC because one, the disparity in link strengths can be created by design, like I mentioned. You could use